Okay, class, let's take a look. Now, actually, we are in the chapter 3 already. Okay, we are in the base, in the previous class, okay, we are in the last part, which is the base, which is the last part. So, after the base, we go to the chapter 4. Okay, class, basically, I already skipped most of the calculation, which is so complicated. If I don't cut it off, I think even 2 people I cannot keep go home and run away already. So have to simplify it. Anyway, like Hui Ping, who do quite well, really put time to do all the calculation. I will ask her to go to refer the Chinese class because Chinese class, the number is quite huge. Even some gone, but still remain quite a big number. Now they are about, they're quite close to us already. Well, basically in chapter 3, so I just want to remind you that we already go through a few, we call it as the miscellaneous part, okay? So number 1, we talk about the head 2, okay? And the second, head 2, which has been, let me try to go, let you have a look to the vocabulary, the terminologies. Okay, let's take a look. This is the miscellaneous, as we mentioned, okay? Okay, in miscellaneous, actually there are total 6 parts, okay, which is quite essential to further the chapter number 4. Let me try to roughly to tell you what have we learned before, okay. Okay, class, let's take a look. Number 1, okay, okay, number 1, okay, here is the part. Number 1 is regards the feeling. Well, basically, once we talk about the feeling, so we just have the feeling of the most important is, okay, we call it as a sukha, dukkha, and upasika, meaning to say is the joy, the suffering, and the equanimity. So all 89 consciousness, they all possess the feeling. Okay, so this is the part number 1. Then second, we talk about is the root. What does it mean, the root? Root meaning to say that the presence of the cetasika, the cetasika of, we call it as a greedy, hatred, stupidity, or this is the group which is considered unfavorable, or the good one, the favorable, which is non-greedy, non-hatred, non-stupidity. So this part 1 is the main important is remember that you and I, basically we believe we reborn as a 3 root being. Why it is so important? Because 3 root being which possess non-greedy, non-hatred, non-stupidity, meaning to say that this life, when we practice samatha and vipassana, we can attain. And if we are second root, we reborn with the second root, without a non-stupidity, we can't develop fully. Even though we do the meditation, we can't achieve the jhana and the nibbana. And the worst one is the rootless. The rootless meaning to say that if you reborn as rootless, basically you are considered the mental retarded people, okay? Or you don't have any sexes. The sex root, the genital organ, or you possess both genital organ, or you have defect in the eye, ear, nose, tongue, all this type of stuff. So this is all considered rootless. Basically, even though just do the good deed, it's quite hard for them to do the good deed. Okay, so this is the one. So we'll try to avoid to reborn to become a rootless in our next life. So that's the purpose of why we have to study the second part 1. Okay, and try our best to reborn, become the 3 root person in the next life. There's the function. Class, basically the function is the most important part in this chapter. Well, why? Because for the 89 consciousness, the functions must be related to rebirth, linking, okay, death, okay, and then it's the bhavanga. Then besides this, our consciousness will play the function as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, and the body consciousness. Then besides, there will be some jhana which is included to create the karma. And before and after the jhana, they will involve other consciousness also. Or for example, investigation. So before the investigation, you start to determining. Before the determining, you will try have a mind door everything. Or this, which is more minor. And the last one, we call it as tatramana, meaning to say that after the jhana, they will record down all the karma inside to the tatramana. Or in simple way that all will be kept inside the brain. The brain, we explain, we are using the brain as the organ to support all this type of consciousness. Okay, so this is the third part. Okay, function which is so important. Okay, and then is the door. The door meaning to say is what? Actually, the door you can say just the eye, ear, nose, tongue, all are considered the door. But the door will include what? The nerve system. So remember that eye door is the nerve system within the eye, retina. Ear door system is the ear nerve. So the last part you consider as the mind door. Mind door, people will confuse either it's a heart, but nowadays no. We will say that mind door is our brain. So once we talk about the brain, then all the nerve in the brain will be involved, and this is the most complicated part. Okay, then we further next is we call it as an object. Let's take a look. The further is the object. What does that mean, object? Object meaning to say that it's the eye, we see something, the color, so color is object. Ear, we hear the sound, they are the object. Nose, tongue, body is the same. Again, the most complicated part is the brain. So we talk about the mind. The object could be future, could be present, and could be the past. And then using our brain, we also can sense the object like what? For example, you can just want to have a wandering mind, okay? So that is another object, okay? So meaning to say that this object can cross the time from past, present to the future. Whereas for our eye, ear, nose, tongue must be always the present. Like you hear my voice, now it's the present, okay? But it could be past when you try to recall in your brain. And then your brain can create anything, like the artist, they can, or the musician, they can create. So meaning to say that's why the brain, they can have a future object. Okay, and then besides, in order to experience the psychic, in order to experience the jhana, in order to experience nibbana, they are all considered as object, and you can only experience this to your brain only, but not through all this faculty. Basically, usually, this is the brain one is the most special part because you can experience them. For example, the jhana, the nibbana, okay, and then some perception without going through all the organ. Why? Because, for example, sometimes once you receive some message, okay, maybe your ancestor, okay, maybe your grandparent passed away, okay, you dream of her, okay, then it can either the dad try to send a message to you, and the message usually go through without going through all the organ, but directly to the brain. Okay, so it is a mind-free process. Okay, or it could be you always think about your grandmother, then your grandmother appeared again. You might create it. So that's why, if let's say it involves this type of stuff, we have to really analyze first whether you accept the information, you receive some information, where either it's directly from some from external, which is considered real, or your mind create the thing for yourself. So that's why actually the brain, the mind door is considered the most complicated one and involve the object. Okay, and if you go to the diagram, I think you feel very scary. So I just skip it. So I just let you know, oh, okay, this is the thing. You know will be good enough. And then in the next chapter, we'll go further how all the faculty by involving all the conditions to come up with the mind-door cognitive process, and the process will explain how we see, how we hear, and then all this itself cannot function. They couldn't function without the help of the brain. So we will connect both activity together from the organ and the brain together to talk about the chapter 4. Okay. So now the last part is the base. Okay, class, basically the base is quite similar with the door. Still is the eye, ear, nose, tongues, all this. But the base a little bit different is, once we talk about the base, it still involves the nerve system. Okay, for example, we say eye base means the eye system. Base meaning to say that is the material which is used, the material in order to develop the mental, the material which is used to develop, the consciousness. So you need the nerve in the eye in order to develop the consciousness. Citta and Cettasika. Ear, nose, tongue is the same. But there will be one exception. We call it as a heart base. Heart base here is not referring to the brain, but it refers to your heart. So abhidhamma, now we go through the base. The last base is the heart base, and the heart base is very important to the function to develop some consciousness. Let's take a look. Maybe I can confirm again. Maybe heart base actually is the brain. Let me try to confirm for you. Okay, so class, now we directly to go back. We go to the pages. We just stop. The page 144. Please go to the 144. Okay. Okay, so we go to the base. So class, this is the base. Okay, okay. Let's see. Okay, you cannot get the page. You can take a look to the screen. So you see eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the heart base. Okay, what's the definition of the base? Let's take a look. You see, which is the physical support for the occurrence of the consciousness. Physical support. So that is the nerve system. We call it as a sensitive matter. Okay, and then we tell you the difference between the door is the channel, but the base is to create the occurrence, to support the occurrence of the consciousness. That will be the difference. Okay, let's say, you see, no citta occur without the base. We need the nerve, the sensitive matter, to create the consciousness. Okay, so now we go to the last one is the heart base. Hataya Vatu. Kohong, can you please read the passage? Heart base.
Heart base. According to the Pali commentator, the heart serves as the physical support for all chittas other than the two sets of fivefold sense consciousness, which takes their respective sensitivities as their bases. In the Chronicles Abhidhamma, the heart base is not expressly mentioned. The Patana, the last book of the Abhidhamma Taka, simply speak of that matter independent on which the mind element and mind consciousness elements occurred. The commentaries, however, subsequently specify that matters to be the heart base, a cavity situated within the physical heart. In the sense world, in the sensuous plane of existence, all six bases are found, except in the case of those who are born blind or deaf. In the fine material world, the three bases of nose, tongue, and body, the support for the corresponding type of sensuous experience, are absent, since this type of sense experience are coarser in quality than the other two, sight and hearing, and thus are excluded from this elevated plane. The commentator says that the being there possesses the physical form of this organ, but this organ lacks sensitivity and hence cannot serve as basis for smelling, tasting, touching, sensory experiences that therefore do not occur in the fine material realm. In the immaterial world, no bases exist because all the bases are made of matter.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's try to digest.
Sifu,
Yes.
after today's class, I want to ask Sifu something about the meditation.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just something like sharing my experience, and also not to say what I experienced, and also I want to ask question.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a look. Sally, finish, Sally?
Yes, finish.
Yes, okay. So let's take a look. Here we go to the heart base. Okay. Basically, heart base, you see, they say it is not expressly mentioned. Okay, it's not expressly mentioned. And here the Bhatana is said depends on which mind elements and mind consciousness element occur. But the last one he said is within the physical heart. Class, the third one is a little bit misleading. Basically now, I'm quite sure that now when we talk about the heart base, in the very beginning, it doesn't mention, don't know where is it. But nowadays, we use it as a brain. There must be the brain to support all the organ so that it can function well. Like what we see, what we hear, finally it must go through the nerve, connect to the brain. Because in 1,000 years ago, they don't have a perception of the brain. Okay, so usually in Buddhism, we always talk about the heart, the mind. We said the thing is made by the mind. Am I right? Okay. And then we said thing makes by the mind create many things. Okay. And then we said I feel the heart broken, right? And then we feel the heart. We feel something here. You see, but we know that we try to when we feel a headache. Okay. You feel quite headache overusing, but you will try to. You put your hand on the brain. You don't put to the heart. So meaning to say, in the previous time, they always confused that they noticed that because something they call as a heart, and it could be closely related to this heart, okay, especially for the emotion. But they also noticed that actually this part, which is they don't know, because at that time they don't have MRI or this type of thing, all this type of stuff. But nowadays, they are quite sure we know that the brain actually here is considered as a base. But for the conservative Orthodox Theravada, since in the later commentary mentioned in the cavity of the physical heart, so they will explain accordingly. This is the reason why during the meditation, once they go to check the Bhavanga, okay, the Nimitta, they will go to the heart base to check. That's the reason why. But actually, if you don't go to put your nimitta to the heart base, or you put to the brain, you still can check. The reason is, wherever your nimitta is wherever there is the 5 jhana anga factor. But conservative Theravada, they are not daring to go against the commentary, so they do everything is based on the heart. But of course must be the brain, because one people have a schizophrenia, once people have a dementia, of course it's the strength of the brain, it's not the strength of the heart. Am I right? And then during the stroke, we noticed that why people know that which part of the brain correspond to the different organ function. The reason is especially from the experience of the stroke. Wherever the stroke occur in this specifically part of the brain, that function you be gone. You can't speak, you can't see, or it's because of the brain, but it's not, it's the heart. So now we will try to say it this way. Yes, go home. Just now you raise your hand, please.
Yeah, Sifu, my questions is, just now I mentioned I want to ask you the question is very much dependent, it's very much of what you say just now.
Oh, I answered already.
No, not yet. I just, when you just said everything is from your heart, this is what my experience is. You see, sometimes we have feelings, we have happiness, we have hatreds, we have angers. So when you try to observe this type of feeling, okay, and observe, okay, it was so restless, it was so happy, it was so angry, and I realized that somehow this is what you call it as a realization. It's not understanding.
Yeah.
And the realization is that, oh yeah, my heart is angry. My heart is angry. I as if like I see myself.
Yeah.
I'm angry. And then after a while, I realized that, oh, this my heart is angry, my heart is sad, just like that.
Yes.
When this type of observation, okay, I cannot say it's a meditation, but it's a kind of observation that you know, I always read the book to say, 你一定要你的觉知, you know, awareness.
Yeah.
I'm just trying, but this is how I came to the realization that, oh, my heart is there, okay, it can be nothing, but it's just like some issue trigger my feeling.
You mean you feel like a bystander, third party to observe the feeling? That's what you want to say, right?
Yeah.
You're just like a third party. You see something happen. You see, actually, it happens within you yourself, but somehow you just feel that it's just like observing somebody happen. That's what you want to say. Okay. Well, basically, maybe I would like to express, add in some more. No matter you say you feel broken heart or you feel the sad in the mind, whatever. Okay, basically we will feel certain thing there but the organ involved must be the brain and this heart, physical heart. Must be the both involved. That's why when you feel angry, sometimes people will go to heart attack. Of course, this heart cavity in the heart must be involved. But of course, sometimes once you're over angry, you also feel headache. Why? Because both organs have been stressed. That's the reason why the organ involved and the mechanism is very complicated. For you and I, we just feel I'm angry, physically all involved together, and they come out the feeling like that. So that's what we say. So remember that nowadays, when we talk about the heart base, please consider the brain as the major. But if you go to the Theravada or Orthodox one, they say it's a cavity heart. Never mind, just follow. Just remember that. Okay, now we take a look. But now a few stuff we will have to talk about. Number one, besides the definition, is about the sense world. If the sensual world, basically, you say all 6 bases are found except the blind and the deaf. Sensual basis is here, for example, like human. We have all the senses, okay, except you are born in the deaf and the blind, okay. And then the second one is about the being who is in the fine plane. We call it as in the jhana sphere. So it's using the word fine material world, meaning to say if you're reborn as a being in the first, second, third, fourth jhana, basically you have all the form of the organ, but the nose and the tongue and the body is without any sensitivity matter. Meaning to say that, why? Because they don't smell, they don't taste, and they don't touch, but they see and hear. You think why they don't smell and they taste like us? Sally, you think why? Why the being in the fine material sphere, they don't smell and taste like us? Sally, you think why? Okay.
I don't know.
You don't know. Why? Because they don't eat. Because when you reach they don't eat.
Okay.
Because once you reach the first jhana, the jhana itself is the food for them. For us, like a human, we still eat. And if we are eating the food without knowing the taste and the smell, well, you're in the hell. During the COVID, remember, some people they suffer malfunction of the tongues and the nose. Wow, they say the life are totally gone already. You don't know what you eat, you don't know what you smell. It's very bad. But in the fine material spheres are different because the jhana itself is the food. So they don't need any sensitive matter presence in the nose and the tongue and the body, and they don't touch. Why? Usually touching is very important, especially for the reproduction in our sensual world. The body touching is very important to get the highest joy, to encourage people to have the offspring. But in the to the fine material sphere, basically they don't need this type of very costly of a reproduction. Usually they are reborn in the transformation way. Immediately they appeared already. Or if let's say, how do you become a first jhana beings? Just one. In the human, you pass away. Okay, if you have produced very strong first jhana karma and the vipaka, immediately you will reborn there already, and no need. You don't need a father, a mother, and mate together to get the body for you. No need. But human, we need. An animal, all this we need the parents to produce a body for us. But in jhana level, fine material, they don't need. So that's why the touching is not necessary already. But anyway, they still have an eye and the hearing that is very helpful in one circumstances. So Kohong, you think what is the advantage by having the ability to hear and see in the fine material sphere? You think what is the advantage?
Can listen to music,
No
see nice
music,
things.
Dharma.
No.
Why we call about the Sravaka? Sravaka meaning to say you are hearing the Four Noble Truths and Paticca Samuppada to get enlightenment. So this is why, if let's say you're aiming to become an Arahant, reborn,
Yes.
Reborn as a material sphere is a very good idea. Why? Because without the physical body, you don't have a problem of the sitting, or you don't have the pain. The pain in the cross leg problem. No need. That's why one Buddha go to the material sphere, or maybe go to the Deva realm, preach the Dharma, can continuous for 3 months without any stop, because their body. They don't have any problem with this long sitting and cause any pain. They don't have this problem. And yet, since they can listen to the Dharma, they can use the knowledge to transform to the experience and observe the Nama Rupa to attain the Nibbana. So actually, it's a good idea if you found that human is not good and you don't aim for the Bodhisattva reborn to the material sphere, fine material sphere, but you have to choose the right one, and you closer to the Ariya there, the sage there. They will teach you, the skill of the vipassana that you can further develop. And according to Abhidhamma, basically, when you reborn to the first jhana, automatically, with a little effort, you can reborn next life to the second. And next life again, you reborn to the third one, because you're already in the jhana, in the fine material sphere. It's very easy for you to develop from first to the second to the third and the fourth. But from here, it's very hard. Why? Because we enjoy the sensual pleasure already. Our brain feel comfortable by listening to we increase the dopamine when the music come, or when we eat the durian, the dopamine increase, or when we touch, when we buy the good clothes, or with the good handbag, all this, wow, the dopamine with the brain will excrete, and it used to be like that. Become habitual already. So if you want to make the brain to focus to the nimitta, to give you the dopamine, you found that it's very hard to change the habit. So that's why from Upachara Samadhi to the first jhana is very tough one. It's the toughest one because this is our habitual. But if let's say you experience the first jhana, in order from first jhana proceed to the second, third, fourth, that will be easier for you. Why? Because once you go to the first jhana, you're used to the first jhana and you like it, then easy for you to drop the jhana angka factor to proceed to the second and the third, fourth jhana. Whereas now we still use our brain still really enjoy the sensual work here, very hard to let go. Now Sadie can let go the twins already, actually taking care with the kids, sometimes also get the joy, Sadie, am I right? Actually, taking care with the cute baby, there's a joy in there. The joy is there. Not only the gambling, taking alcohol got the joy. Actually, people who is you mix with good people, good talk, always with the humorous. That is other joy. That joy, something can let go. So that's why when you become alone, you feel very lonely because you already attached with that. So sadly, long term, you take care with the twins, there will be the attachment. So one day, the twin leave you, you feel lonely already. So that's example lah. Don't say no example. So that's why sometimes you're used to taking care with the kids. When they go to the college, you feel empty already. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because
Emptiness.
They always daddy, mommy, you really enjoy, you see. So that's why the sensual fears we always surrounded by the sensual fears, and we used to it. It's hard to, it really takes time to let go all this so that the mind can go to the jhana, to get the joy, see now. Okay, so, but anyway, if you proceed to what immaterial sphere, there will be nothing. Why? Because in material world, there's totally baseless. No baseless. Because in material world, there's no matter. Again, I'll try to remind you, what is the best example of a figure in the immaterial world? They are the teacher of the Shakyamuni. Alala Gamala, remember? Alala Gamala, who is the those who see the who noticed that the Buddha born, and once he crossed he go to the palace, he said, oh, he will become a Buddha, but unluckily at that time I reborn already, I cannot get a teaching from him. So he's the one, the important representative for an immaterial sphere. Because when you reborn to the immaterial sphere, you don't have any ear faculty already. So Buddha even want to preach to his teacher, but cannot. Because you don't have ear faculty already. This is the reason why in Buddhism, we consider immaterial sphere is one of the obstruction places to reborn. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so it says immaterial world, no basis exists, meaning to say you can't even listen to the Dharma. So this is not a good place to reborn. So we got a special word for it. Let me see. Let me search it for you. Okay, Partnan. Partnan. English. English. Let's see. Okay, Partnan, 8 difficulties. Partnan, 8 difficulties. Yeah, it's still it's correct lah. 8 difficulties. 8 difficulty meaning to say is the 8 places which is very difficult to practice to the Dharma. And we are this one of them is the immaterial sphere. 8 difficulty. See. See, this is the 8 difficulty. Well, for here 8 difficulty, if you reborn to the hell, to the ram, okay, it's the difficulty in hearing to the Dharma. The hell, hungry ghost, animal, and the heavenly ram, okay, and then this is the one, especially for those. The heavenly ram means what? Heavenly ram meaning to say is the 长寿天难, meaning to say that they have including the immaterial sphere. Immaterial sphere. So if you reborn as them, very hard for you to learn the Dharma. Then besides, you say in the excellent continent Uttara Guru, okay, because they don't have any Dharma, and then physical mental disability, of course you cannot learn. Birth as a philosopher, because you used to debate, then you cannot. It's quite hard for you to believe to the Dharma, and birth between to the Buddhas. Okay, between the Buddha, meaning to say that you don't met any Buddha, but nowadays we get the Dharma from the internet, so it's not a problem. So this is the immaterial sphere is considered in the heavenly realm. So you can write it down in the immaterial sphere there. So we try to avoid to reborn there, except you can get you can grasp the skill of the vipassana. You still can remember once you reborn there. If you cannot remember once you born there, you just be all the peaceful for the ekapa or krikapa there only, without any without any condition for you to change. Okay, so this is the 8 difficulty lah. Okay, so immaterial sphere. Okay, now we go to the classification by the way of the consciousness. Okay, yes, Sally, can you please read the passage therein, the 5 elements, please?
Therein, the 5 elements of sense consciousness occur entirely dependent on the 5 sensitive parts of the sense organs as their respective bases. 2 times 5 equals 10. But the mind element, namely the 5 door-averting consciousness and the 2 types of receiving consciousness, occurs in dependence on the heart. Likewise, those that remain, namely the mind consciousness element comprising the investigating consciousness, the great resultants, and the two accompanied by aversion. The first part, consciousness, smiling consciousness, five material sphere consciousness occur in dependence on the heart. 3 plus 3 plus 8 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 15 equals 33. The remaining five classes of consciousness, whether wholesome, unwholesome, functional, or supramundane, may be either dependent on or independent of the heart base. 12 plus 10 plus 13 plus 7 equals 42. The immaterial sphere resultants are dependent on the heart base. 4. The five elements of self-consciousness, etc. In the Abhidhamma, all 89 types of citta are distributed among the seven consciousness elements as follows. In the three cittas called mind element involve a very big grasp of the object. The five don't averting consciousness because it encounters an utterly noble object and is followed by a citta with a different base. The twofold receiving consciousness because it follows a citta with a different base. The five elements of self-consciousness are slightly stronger because they directly see, hear, smell, taste, or touch the object, but they're still relatively weak because they come between the two cittas with bases different than their own. The cittas collected under mind consciousness element, being preceded and followed by cittas which share their own base, are capable of a fully and clearer connective grasp of the object. But the mind consciousness occurs in dependence on the heart. 33 cittas enumerated here do not arise in the immaterial world, but only in the worlds where matter exists. Hence, they are always supported by the heart base. The cittas accompanied by aversion do not occur in five material and immaterial plane because aversion has been well suppressed as a prerequisite for attaining jhana. The first part, consciousness, the part consciousness of stream entry, cannot occur in the immaterial realms because it is contingent on hearing the Dhamma, which presupposes the clear faculty. The smile producing consciousness of course require the body to exhibit the smile.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, Kok Hong, please continue reading. Okay. The remaining classes of consciousness.
The remaining classes of consciousness, they are 10 unwholesome citta, excluding the two accompanied by aversion. The 8 great wholesome cittas, the 8 great functionals, 4 immaterial wholesome, 4 immaterial functional, 7 supramundane, excluding the first part, and the mind door awaiting, a total of 42. These cittas are dependent on the heart base when they occur in the planes where matter exists, in the sensuous plane and the fine materials plane, and independence of the heart base when they occur in the immaterial plane. The immaterial spheres resultants occur only in the immaterial plane and thus do not depend on any base. On the three plane,
Yes. Yes. Okay.
summary. It should be known that in the sensuous plane, 7 elements are dependent on the 6 base. In the fine material plane, 4 are dependent on the 3 base. In the immaterial plane, the one single element is not dependent on any. 43 type of consciousness arise dependent on a base. 42 arise with or without a base. The immaterial resultant arise without any base. In the sense world, in the sensuous plane, 5 consciousness elements arise, each dependent on their own base. The mind element and mind consciousness element in dependence on the heart base. In the 5 material plane, the nose, tongue, the body bases, along with their corresponding consciousness elements, are absent. In the immaterial plane, only mind consciousness element occurs, and that without a base.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes.
Is this all in Pali? Iti, abhidhamma, all this in the Pali word, is it?
Yes, actually, this is translated from the Pali. This whole book translated from the Pali, actually.
So which means every time they just put a few lines of Pali, and then we have a big paragraph. So this is what the so-called authors interpret on the Pali side, and then make the so-called translation. Is this correct?
That's true. All is translated from the Pali. So to put out the Pali, if let's say you have an ambiguity in the English, you can go back to the Pali because the Pali is the original language. So any discrepancy, the Pali version should be prevail. Okay. Okay, Sally, finish. Okay, very soon. Okay, okay. Sally, usually as long as I highlight, you can follow immediately, right? You can follow. Go home, do you highlight or you don't? You just see on the mic.
Normally I highlight on my iPad, but today I didn't bring my iPad, so
You got your
I cannot do any highlight. Yeah.
Okay. Next time you try to highlight because they help you to refer because we are more expert. We help you because this is not easy. So then you realize it's really not easy, this thing. I teach time, so I can help you very, very fast to grasp the thing, you see. Okay. Okay, let me try to explain how to finish this. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, then here we talk about the calculation. Basically, I will try to skip a very detailed calculation, but just to let you know what is the key point here. Okay, this part is quite simple. Okay, it mentioned to us that basically all the 5 elements of the sense consciousness with the 5 sense part because we got 5 organs. Eye, ears, nose, tongue, body. So 5 times 2 equals to the 10. Why we times 2? The reason is because we are having both favorable and unfavorable consciousness. So that's why 2 times 10. Okay. And then now next, let's take a look. It's saying the heart, right? And here's the heart, right? Sally, please circle the heart and put the brain. It should be the brain. So meaning to say the 5 dot everything consciousness and the receiving consciousness and the rest, all this we call it as when you experience the jhana, you experience the nibbana, all this, they are considered, you experience this all is in the brain. Let me try to make you to recall all this. So this is the one. Okay, and let me show you to recall you first. Okay, okay, class, basically, I always show you a diagram. The big one is like this. See? The big one is this. Okay, so this is all is in the Pali. Okay, so meaning to say that here is all is in the Pali. So this one is in our organ. The next part is all is in the brain. But I think I want to show the English one, which is better. So let me show you. Okay, because if you don't memorize it, it's quite hard for you to catch up the whole things, you see. So we go to the list of the table. Okay, so list of the table, I want to show you is regards this chapter number 3. Okay, is the chapter. Okay, let's see. List of the table is object. Okay. This one, the limited jhana absorption jhana is the diagram 4.3. The diagram 4.3. 161. Let's take a look. 161. Okay, class. Let's take a look. Okay, well, for this ABC, a little bit confuse you, but you have to go through it a little bit. Here, all the ABC is represent. You see or not? For example, this is the great object. Here, what it show you, the whole thing here is what you experience once you see something through your eye. Okay, through your eye. Okay, and then basically here, what I'd like to mention to you is regards this. You see, okay, you see 5 dog everything consciousness and the receiving consciousness. What is the 5 dot everything? Class, let's take a look. Here is the 5 dot everything. F, 5 dot everything. It means what? It means once you see something, okay, for example, I think I prefer to show you this. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, if you see something, the first process occurs is in our eye of the retina first. Okay, so this is the first mind door consciousness. We call it the 5-door consciousness. But from here, after gone through one 5-door consciousness, for example, the eye door consciousness, the message, this colorful plate, the message will be sent to our brain, and it will be experienced as a mind door consciousness. So this is the eye door consciousness, then is the mind door consciousness. No matter mind door or eye door consciousness, there will be some, we call it as a 5-door everything consciousness, because this is one of the, one of our consciousness to play the function. For example, when you hear something, okay, the sound, you hear something. According to the Abhidhamma, if you don't use all of your faculty, basically, you're always is in the brain situation, which is maybe just a wandering mind. Am I right? If you do nothing, you keep on, the mind is wandering. But there's another function is in our brain stem, which will be keep on functioning to sustain our life. That's why we say the brain death is the real death. But the brain will be always sustained. So the sustain of the brain, I think it played the function for the Bhavanga to show the sustainable of the life. Okay, so meaning to say, if you do nothing, our brain stem will keep on maintaining. Okay, but anyway, you don't see it, or we don't feel our brain stem function. We don't feel that. But anyway, but when you hear the sound, there will be mind door consciousness, meaning to say that the sound come to the ear, and your ears start to functioning already. So meaning to say, once your ear door start to functioning, there will be one consciousness because of a 5-door everything, and then from the sleeping state mood to go to the awakened mood, that we call as a 5-door everything. Okay, from 5-door everything, you come to the ear consciousness, you hear the sound already, and then you hear the sound, and you start to creating some karma in the simple way, and from here, it will transmit to the brain, and the brain will keep on to get a sound and try to interpret it, and try to recall it, and try to take action against it. Then when do everything already, then it will keep the information and keep into our brain, in the hippocampus and amygdala, and to keep there. We store it in our alaya consciousness. So remember, you know that, okay? So meaning in the simple way that besides you hear the sound, so the hearing, the consciousness involved, then besides that, most of the consciousness in the following will involve is in the brain already. So in the simple way. Okay, let's take a look, you see. Let me tell you this. Okay, here, so it's mentioned, my elements, 5-door everything, all this is in the brain. Okay, then next, the investigating, the great resultant, all this also is in the brain. Okay, including, you see the first path consciousness, meaning to say if you achieve become an Arahant, then you need the brain. Okay, then the 5 material sphere, you want to experience the jhana, you use the brain also. Okay, that's what we call here. And then you said the next one, either dependent or independent of the heart base, meaning to say that they either dependent or not dependent. It depends on where do you stay. So this is the wholesome, unwholesome, functional, and supramandate. So meaning to say that this is because if you become a human, then you have to experience all this type of numbering with the heart base, because we got the brain here as a human. But if you're reborn in the material sphere, you don't need any brain to experience all the remaining of the consciousness. Okay, but if you're reborn as in the immaterial sphere, since without any body, so you don't have any heart base, so you don't experience anything. Okay, so meaning to say immaterial sphere resultant, they are they are the 4 空无边处. Okay, 空无边处. Let me see first. They are the 4 one. Let me try to remember this. The diagram number 1. Okay, chapter list of the table. 28. Okay, so this is the 4 one. Immaterial sphere consciousness, immaterial sphere wholesome, all these These four immaterial sphere wholesome, what is their name? Certainly I cannot remember. Let me just show you this. Yeah, certainly I just cannot tell the name already. They are the 4-1, chapter number, this of the table. Okay. Yes, 89 of the this is the one. Okay, 1.6. Okay, 1.6, 47, page 47. So class, this is their name. Okay, this is the name. No. 64. Yes, this is the name. Okay, the base of infinite space, the base of the infinite consciousness, the base of the nothingness, and the base of the neither perception nor non-perception. So this is the 4-1. They are considered the resultant. Okay, so they are the one without any base one. Without any base, so they don't depend. They don't need to depend on our brain to reborn, to function as an immaterial sphere. Okay, the next. So the 89 one, how to understand? So in a simple way, class. So my door consciousness, my elements, and the my consciousness, 76 plus 3. They need brain to occur. So the I, we just use our eye consciousness, it will be fine. And then the ear consciousness, we just use our ear consciousness element. This we call as a nerve system. In the simple way, eye, ears, nose, tongue of the body, they are using the nerve system in respectively, they will be fine. Why the number is 2? Because they involve favorable and unfavorable consciousness. Okay, so whereas because we got totally 89 consciousness, so 89 minus 10, so we got 79. So the 79, all this is for the brain. Okay, so this is we call as a my elements and the my consciousness element. They use the brain as elements, as organ to function. So here we've got some idea to talk about which one consciousness is the strongest one. Class, basically the my consciousness is the strongest one. This one is the stronger one, the last one. Why the last one is the strongest one? Because basically immediately you're using your brain to attach, to trigger it. So since you totally use the brain, then will be the strongest object. See or not? You get the clearer connective grasp of the object, fully clearer, because you are using one base, you are using the brain only. So this is the last one. Okay, and then second, he said the 5 elements of the sense consciousness is slightly stronger but relative weak. What is the 5 element of the sense? Meaning to say, you see, eye, ears, nose, tongue. Basically, the eye consciousness is relative weak. The reason why, see class, the reason is here. You see, here the consciousness arises, right? Then later on, the information will pass to the brain. Meaning to say, the brain and the retina here both will use to function in order to get the image. So that's why it's a relative weak, or it's relative weak compare the image go to the brain. Because you see, once the colorful plate immediate to the brain, you fully use the brain to perceive it. So this is the strongest object. Whereas once the object from you see first, then from what you see, you pass the information to the brain, it involves 2 organs. So it's relative weak. See or not? Because it's involved 2 base, the reason is. Okay. Then, so it tell you which one is more strong. The meaning, the purpose is here only. Whereas you say the my dot element is the very weak one, the my elements. Why? Because also it involves the my elements meaning to say the 5 dot everything consciousness, because it's also involved to bring. According here, he say we got the 5 dot consciousness will be involved 2 organ because from one eye convert to the brain, so it evolved two organs to produce it. So that's why it is relatively weak. So this is the reason why we talk about this part of the paragraph. Basically, if you evolve a different base, and if you evolve a different base, they will be weaker. But if you only use one brain, totally the brain to perceive, they will be strong. Okay, the whole passage just give you this message. So the object perceived totally in the brain is the strongest object. Compare if you involve the changing of the organ. So let's see. Okay, and then here they say by the mind elements do not arise in the immaterial world, because in the immaterial world we don't have any brain. And here he say basically aversion do not occur in the five material sphere, immaterial sphere. You will never get angry. Why? In order to reborn to become in the five material and immaterial sphere, the aversion have to be fully suppressed. So that's why if you become a five material sphere, for example, first jhana beings there, you will never experience the aversion. And also, if you reborn in the immaterial sphere, because you don't have any body, so you don't experience any aversion. According here. Then lastly, we see he mentioned that in the immaterial sphere, there will never occur this the path consciousness of the stream entry, the first path, meaning to say that you can never experience the sotapan if you reborn in the immaterial sphere. You never become a sotapan. And then, since you don't have any body, you will never have a smile producing consciousness, because you need a body to produce the smile consciousness. Okay, and then there's the numbering. Okay, okay, then finish. Okay, I think I don't want to continue the next part because Ko Hong, you want to do some sharing, and then you want to ask some question, right? So I stopped the recording, convenience for you.